Today we're building a drill charging station.
Nice.
Chuck, I'm trying to record an intro here.
Drill charging station, huh? Real original, man.
Yeah, but dude, this one's gonna be way better.
Oh, it's gonna be better. It's gonna hold your drills?
Yeah,
Maybe charge your batteries?
absolutely.
Maybe have a drawer for all your little knickknacks you got?
It's actually gonna have two.
Ho! Two drawers?
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna have like this little slide out thing that can hold all your drill bits.
You know, I just think you're making a new one because it don't match your fancy cabinets you got over there made out of that Baltic birch.
No.
I mean, that's something you would totally do, Rodriguez.
I kind of like how it is. It's got that like dark line down and it kind of gives it some character.
You're the guy that wants character with these flat panel doors and wearing all those gray shirts you wear?
I wear blue sometimes.
You're a real trendsetter, aren't you? All right, man, well, you have fun with that upgraded charging station. I'm going to get another dude.
Yeah, well, have fun with your stuff. Those glasses are stupid. Let's build something awesome.
Now, contrary to Chuck's belief, I don't have to build everything out of Baltic birch plywood. I just prefer to. And as such, I started off by breaking down these full sheets of 3/4 and 1/2 inch Baltic birch to size so that I could cut the sides of the cabinet.
All right, I've got the two sides cut, but these boards are not straight. Unfortunately, these actually got wet when I was bringing them home. I left them out overnight in the back of the truck and it rained. So they have some definite warp in them. So if you have boards like that, you can work with them and hopefully once we get those joined together, it's gonna flatten things out. But what you wanna make sure is that the part that's touching the blade is flat down against the table and let that back side ride up. But right now I'm gonna cut rabbets on the back panel and that's gonna be a little notch out for the 1/2 inch back piece.
And if you're not familiar with the term, it's rabbet with an E, not an I. No cute bunnies were harmed in the making of this joinery. Now, a rabbet is a groove along the edge of a board or panel to hold another board, and using rabbeted sides with an inset back panel will make this cabinet super sturdy. I set up my dado blade in a sacrificial fence to take the cut in one pass, and it's always smart to use test pieces to fine-tune in your setup before you run your actual parts. Now, you could cut this joint with a regular saw blade and just make multiple passes, or you could also use a router for this. With my sides ready, I could then cut the parts for the inside of the cabinet. I'm using pocket hole joinery for the cabinet like all my shop projects. And after I'm done drilling all the pocket holes, I meticulously vacuum up the chips that got away because that's my thing. And now I'm feeling a little self-conscious, so tell me a weird thing that you do in your shop so I can feel a little bit more normal.
I've got the sides now as well as the top, bottom, and the shelves, and I've put down this piece of MDF basically because my bench is too short. So if you have a smaller bench, you can use a piece of plywood to extend your bench while you're doing the assembly.
I started in on the assembly, and the boards were definitely giving me some challenges. Now, these suckers had more twists than Kaiser Soze.
Kobayashi.
And here's how I'm dealing with those boards that are warped. So I showed you these had this warp to it earlier. What I did is I aligned the bottom first, and I made sure to attach one screw on the one side, and then the other side I could have flush, and I put all the screws in them. Now while I was doing this, I wasn't trying to make this top part line up because I knew it was gonna be out. So now after that side is flush, I can pull it in and secure it, and it should all hold together, especially when I have the top on, and hopefully it won't rack it too much. And that'll help you work with the bends in panels like this.
When I flipped the cabinet around to attach the top, you could really see how bad the sides were. I had almost a 1/4 inch gap from the front to the back of each one. But it just goes to show you that you can work with jacked up plywood. And if you end up buying some Pringles from the big box store, you can still salvage them with some good old clamping force. And after that, I can now make the lower portion for the drawers.
I'm gonna put it in this middle shelf, and for me, I'm gonna make it just tall enough so that my drills can fit in and still have some room in there. I'm gonna use these two spacers that I cut from 1/4-inch plywood, and that will let the shelf make sure that it's falling over. That'll let the shelf rest on these and make sure that I get it exactly where I want it. Now I can just clamp it in place on top of these and not have to worry about the measurement.
I secured the shelf with pocket screws, and then I turned my attention to setting up the last half shelf to optimize my battery storage.
And there's one more shelf that I do want to add to the carcass, and I wanted to get everything mocked up so that I could see how the batteries fit. I've got batteries from RIDGID, from RYOBI, from Milwaukee, and DeWalt, and they're all kind of different sizes and shapes, and they stack differently. So as you can see, it'll fit 2 of the 5 amp hour batteries from RIDGID. When you look at the, whoa! Almost had a crash and burn there. The RYOBI ones don't stack very nicely, but if you kind of rotate them around, they will fit up there. The Milwaukee ones, same type thing. This will fit at least 2 high of all these different battery types that I have, which will be great for my purposes.
I'm using 1/2-inch plywood for this small shelf just to squeak out that little extra 1/4 inch of storage, so I measured for the back panel and I cut it at the same time. I used the offcut from the back to get the piece that I needed for that little half shelf, and then I cut it to length on the miter saw. I'm using pocket screws to attach this shelf as well, but since it's 1/2-inch material, I switched over to the micro pocket drill guide on my K5. I used more spacers to hold the shelf in place while I secured it. I pointed the pocket holes up on this one because, well, it's just above eye level, and so I can just imagine they're not even there.
All right, one last thing. Before I put the back on, I'm going to drill a hole here for the cords to come out. So the surge protector is going to be in the cabinet, and all the cords are going to go into it, and the power cord will come out the sides. So I'm going to use a Forstner bit to drill a hole for the power cable to come out, and then I'll have a way to come down and run it to the outlet.
And next I put the back on, which, surprise, surprise, was also warped. But I checked the cabinet for square, and after gluing and nailing on the back, you would never know that I was using some wonky sheets of ply to build it. I also put some 3/4-inch screws into the middle of that half shelf into the back so that it wouldn't sag under the weight of the batteries.
Next up, I'm going to make the 2 drawers that are going to go on the bottom. Two drawers? And yes, I am doing 2 drawers. I have this 1 drawer in here right now. This cabinet is 24 inches wide. The new one's going to be 30 inches wide. So having a single drawer that wide is not real great. And also, this one already has lots of things that are just stuffed in here, and I have to pull them out. So I want to separate that out into a drilling drawer and a driving drawer. So I think it'll be a good way to separate those, and it'll be a little bit easier to find stuff. That's always good. For the 2 drawers, the construction is going to be really simple and no drawer slides. It's just going to be a friction fit. So I'm going to use 3/4-inch for the fronts and then 1/2-inch for the sides and the back. And it's just going to fit into a rabbet just like I did for the back of the carcass there. So I'll cut these on the table saw, and then we'll put them together on the bench.
And the drawers will have a captured bottom as well to hold the 1/4-inch plywood panel. I had to do quite a few setups on the saw to cut all the parts.
So I got the drawer parts ready for assembly, but on the fronts, what I want to do with these is actually make an integrated pull on these. So instead of doing like a drawer pull or something like that, I'm just going to do a little hole in here. So I'm just going to go over to the drill press and drill little 1-inch holes in the front, and that'll just be a nice little spot that I can grab and pull out, and it's cheap, easy, and quick.
Then I finished off the holes with a chamfer on each side just to give me a little creature comfort.
So the bottom for the drawer is going to go into these grooves that I've cut in the front and the sides, but the back is actually going to be shorter so that the bottom can be screwed into it and hold it in place. So I'm going to cut that now on the table saw, and then we can do the assembly.
If you want to build your own drill charging station, I do have plans available that will walk you through step by step and give you all the part dimensions and the cut diagrams for everything you need. You can check the link down below in the description, and I appreciate your support. Now with all the parts ready, I could assemble the drawers.
The box all assembled, now I can just measure the inside dimensions. Then I can add in a 1/4-inch for the rabbets that I put in there and overlap the top, cut those on the table saw, and I get a bottom that slides in just like this. Then I can just pre-drill the back and attach it with screws. And that's it. Now we got a nice little simple drawer. It's got an integrated handhold, and it can slide right in and not need any drawer slides. All right, this thing's looking great so far, but there's a few more features I want to add to give it some real flexibility. And one of those is with drills. So I have two smaller types of 12-volt drills, and one of them has the battery in the handle, and it has a very small base. So what tends to happen is the ones with the battery on the bottom, they stand up pretty good. But the ones with the battery in the handle, they fall over a lot. So we're going to fix that by adding some hanging drill storage on one of the ends. So if you're making one for yourself, you can adjust the spacing here to fit the tools you have, or you can just do like me and make it too small versus what you want it to do. I drilled this a little bit too far over, only about 1/4 inch, so it's kind of sticky in there, so I'm gonna fix that and move it. Mistakes were made. It happens. So the hanging storage is a very popular way to store drills and a lot of other projects that I've seen out there, but you could use this option and expand it as many as you want by just adding more of these little T's and moving the end piece down. Another upgrade that I want to add is a space for my most used bits and drivers here. So I made this little guy here, which is great, which is just some holes that I put in a little piece of poplar. But I have more than that, and then obviously you can see them all laying right here. So I'm gonna actually make something and make them more accessible and have it pull out and have 2 tiers.
Now before putting everything back together, I put some Total Bolt Halcyon Clear finish on all the parts. Now this is my go-to varnish these days as it goes on thick, dries quickly, and it gives the shop furniture a good layer of protection.
All right, I did put a 1/2 inch back on this cabinet, so we could go right through that into the wall. But on the wall where this is gonna go, I've got French cleats. So I'm gonna cut a French cleat for it, and then we can throw it up.
Now with the cabinet in place, I loaded it up, and I know I probably have more batteries, chargers, and drills than most people, but if you're a one brand kind of person, you can have multiple chargers to charge your batteries, and you could obviously store other cordless tools on here. Now the pull-out panel is perfect for all my most used drivers and bits, and these drawers really worked out nicely.
Well, hot dang! Look at that thing. 2 drawers. Well played, Rodriguez. If you want to check out some more storage videos, I got a playlist queued up for you right there. If you want to build this one, I've got a link down below in the description. You can get the plans for it. I appreciate your support. A big thank you to all the folks joining the Builders Club, and I'll see you guys on the next video. We're going to build something awesome.